Yo, if you guys are familiar with the process of actually making music, you'll know it's a very tedious process where a lot of musicians spend tons of hours, many weeks, and just a lot of time and effort to make a 3-minute song for you to listen to, right? Small musicians oftentimes will take 2-3 months of real work to make a 2-minute song just for the smallest chance that you might want to think about listening to it.
Did I really just forget that Epstein's a pedophile?
Bigger musicians even spend half a year to drop one album that will do really well and will pay all their bills and all that. But the point is, it takes them half a year to really make something substantial and something good sounding. And music's been in this nice place where, unlike a lot of the rest of the art world, it hasn't really been replaced with AI, or I haven't really noticed it if it has. Because the rest of the art world, right, whenever people make thumbnails, or especially logos, stuff that's a bit more simplistic and formulaic, AI has been able to kind of do that type of work for a while now, and if it hasn't been able to do it, it's been able to get something so close to an end result that instead of paying, 3 different artists to work on something, you pay one artist to load up an AI tool, have it generate something, and then he goes into Photoshop or something and actually gets you the end result. Now, there's still a lot of people as hobbyists, as artists out in the world that make really cool stuff. I mean, the thing you're seeing on screen right now is something I paid a good bit of money from Chris Quay, really great artist, by the way. You're looking at some really great work right here, right? I'm pretty sure he did this all by hand, no AI involved, no nothing like that. But outside of people that want to do as a hobby and really have passion for art, in the more corporate world, and especially across the greater internet and a lot of YouTube, honestly, there's been a lot more AI usage, just either replacing or greatly speeding up and kind of removing a lot of the human elements of the creation process. Music was kind of free of that. I don't exactly know why, because when I think back on it, right, back when I was in school, I remember my music teacher saying, all music is pretty formulaic, right? All the biggest songs all use very similar chord progressions, right? Very similar kind of structure. The main difference is maybe the lyrics or the tempo or something like that. It's almost like tweaking your in-game settings when you're, playing a video game or something. But unlike a video game where there's kind of an objectively correct thing to do, right? I want 60 FPS, not 30. I want to have the proper resolution. With music, it's a lot more subjective, and it's kind of up to the artist to figure out what sounds good and what sounds right and what fits their song best. There's no 100% correct answer, but there's definitely a lot of guardrails that kind of put you in the right direction that a lot of the bigger musicians out there are super aware of. With all that being said, that means AI has the same guardrails, that same set of rules that it can follow to create this music, which means it actually has. Right, a lot of people actually find their music through things like Spotify, right? Things like iTunes, any other type of music listening platform. For me personally, I actually find most of my music that I just listen to through YouTube, and then I'll go contact the guy on SoundCloud, see if he has a Bandcamp. I'll buy it off Bandcamp at the end of the day, or find another way to go buy it on whatever platform someone has available for purchase. And if they don't got all that, it's on YouTube. I listen to it from YouTube. But point being, that's my discovery platform, and for the longest time it's been great, right? I've used it to find stuff from the 70s and 80s all around the world that I would have never in a million years found out about if it weren't for the fact that YouTube is a worldwide kind of phenomenon. So I can find music from the 70s jazz in Japan, or I can find, punk rock in Europe in the 80s, just on YouTube, just browsing normally. And it's honestly been great. It's been a really nice place to find a lot of great music. I found out about a lot of artists that no one around me had ever heard of that were super great, or artists that they'd heard of but forgotten about, and stuff like that. It's just genuinely amazing as a music discovery platform if you train your algorithm to do that, because it's just like any algorithm, you can kind of train it, right? You go to YouTube, if you want to listen to something, click those things and nothing else, and YouTube will start recommending more of it, right? There's some days where I want to listen to music, and I just click only music things, listen to them in their entirety, even if I don't fully enjoy it, just to kind of let YouTube know, hey, I want music suggestions. And then it listens, and I get music suggestions, and it's great. But recently, those suggestions have been getting filled in with these AI, mainly jazz above anything else, but AI just massive albums. And it's kind of crazy because it sounds good. The only reason I even know this is AI is because all of these channels use the exact same visuals, have the exact same description, and just kind of have the same vibe going on. I mean, it's mainly the description and thumbnails and like kind of arts that tipped me off that this was AI. And then in the description you read, and luckily these people were honest, and they just say, hey, this was AI generated. I mean, one of these channels even said, this is AI generated, and then edited and fine-tuned with Photoshop. Meaning they didn't fine-tune the music, they just fine-tuned the picture to go with the music. But the music sounds great. I mean, a lot of the comments are agreeing, and the other half are like, wow, this is AI. I mean, I'm really shocked that AI can make music that good. And it's, I don't know, just kind of scary. It's been scary for a while with AI, but this recent kind of invasion into a newer topic, right? I figure it's like, oh, it's pictures, it's videos, whatever. At least music, which is the art form that I really enjoy, will kind of remain sacred, remain human, you know, remain good. And I can go listen to my game soundtracks and other albums and stuff. You know, smaller artists that have blown up after I started listening to them. Like, for example, Thumnail. I got recommended on YouTube at like, I think 10,000 subscribers. And now their albums have like a few million views, and like they're super successful, and I'm super happy for them. I mean, they make really great music, and I enjoyed it for a reason. And I'm sure those people kind of won't go away. I mean, look, they made it for passion. Every musician I've ever talked to, small and big, has always said the same thing. Hey, I make this for passion. You know, I enjoy the process of making it. I enjoy seeing the end result. I never really expected to earn money, and then if they happen to earn money, they're like, well, now I can do it for a living, and I'm super happy about that. You know, I was working a job at the time while making this, and now I can just do this full time, and it's like a much happier and more fulfilling life for me. And that's great for them. I really am glad that's possible. I mean, every time I can buy musicians' art through something like Bandcamp, and get like a FLAC download of their songs, which for those who don't know, is just like a high quality download of their music. I always do that. I always go through Bandcamp whenever your stuff's on Bandcamp. If it's on Patreon, I'll buy it through Patreon. Some creators use like Ko-fi and stuff, and I want to support them through that, but those websites don't protect the buyer like in any way, in terms of they will like straight up give someone your full legal name and IP address whenever you buy their stuff. And look, I like supporting music. I don't like supporting doxing myself to get access to your music and donate to you. That's kind of an odd business proposition to me. I kind of wish they had more anonymized ways to pay. That would be really cool. If anyone who either works for the companies that like run those platforms, or, you know, maybe use them themselves and don't have a Patreon or something, hears about this. I mean, that's just something worth considering. There's a real amount of people that don't want to give their full legal name whenever they're donating to you. That's just kind of just annoying and odd. Either way, with all the AI music going around, and it actually sounding pretty good in my opinion, right? There's nothing like wrong about it, if you know what I mean. The AI music just sounds decent, right? Sounds good. If you hadn't told me it was AI, I wouldn't have known. I'd just be jamming out or relaxing or whatever kind of the music would make me want to do. Point being though, it's actually not bad. There's nothing like inherently wrong with it, and it is, you know, at the end of the day, it's good music. I'm not gonna like not listen to good music just because of it being AI generated. It does suck. I love my musician friends, and I do think, at least at the moment, there is a notable difference between AI and human music, when just purely in the fact that the vocals aren't really there. And there's definitely a lack of this kind of pizzazz put on top, right? The roughness, the ability to not follow the rules so strictly is kind of what separates human musicians. But for basic instrumental stuff, or like super, you know, lo-fi, relaxing type stuff, that's pretty structural. There's not really a lot of crazy stuff going on there. And AI music has functionally replaced a lot of the smaller artists I used to get exposed to through YouTube, which kind of sucks, honestly. I'm, you know, it's still good music at the end of the day. I'm not going to stop listening to it. But I did enjoy, you know, talking to these smaller artists and things like that. But something that came to mind immediately as soon as I realized that is YouTube. For those who don't know, on YouTube, it's pretty common to just get copyright claimed and lose all the money you're about to make from a video, right? The entire dollar you might have made from 1,000 views is now $0, and someone else is getting that dollar because you used music in the background while speaking and having gameplay and having spent 8 hours editing this together. Which is really annoying, to be frank, and that's why most creators just use video game soundtracks and things like that, because Nintendo has like a thing on their website saying, hey, you can use our music, we like when fans use our music, as long as you're not like just uploading the music alone. And a lot of big creators kind of just take advantage of that, right? Ludwig and Alfred, for example, have a ton of different Nintendo music on their channels. They don't actually like list any of it in the description of their videos or in their video anywhere, which I find really, really annoying, to be frank. It's always been a point of annoyance when older YouTubers, you know, your Mr. Beast, your Ludwig, your Alfred, they all like talk about how much they love music and how they have well, Mr. Beast doesn't, but the other two actually talk a lot about how they listen to a lot of music, enjoy a lot of music, and have these massive kind of collections of soundtracks that they listen to. And then they don't share what they are, and you're just supposed to have to like search through the comments and guess what it is, which is really, really annoying. Luckily, newer creators don't really have that problem. Every creator I've seen that has like blown up since 2024, give or take, has the music listed in the description, or even in the video sometimes, which is kind of crazy to me because that's like visually distracting. And you're kind of risking losing some actual real viewership just for all the constant pop-ups whenever the song changes. But I respect the heck out of people that are willing to do it anyway. It's not something I'm willing to do, it's why I always list it in the description. I might actually start putting in the outro or something, because then it's more permanent, and if someone like re-uploads my video from YouTube to somewhere else, then the music credits kind of stay with the video. Which would be kind of nice, because I do very much appreciate the artists who either let me use their music in their videos directly because I've talked to them and asked, who have a general policy on their YouTube channel, like for example Nobonoko, who is a channel I've kind of stumbled across recently. I haven't actually used their music yet, but on their channel in the About Me section it just says, hey, you can use my music as long as you credit me. Right? A lot of new musicians do that, and I appreciate that. It makes my life a lot easier. I don't have to worry about copyright claims as much. But if someone abuses the copyright system and claims a video that they didn't even make, a lot of the creators I kind of use music from, right, they're like, some of these people have like 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, some even less, which kind of sucks if they don't have the money to claim their own music and have it be in the YouTube system without actually claiming people. And there's not really a good system for that as far as I'm aware, to kind of have something claimed on YouTube so someone else can't copyright claim it and claim ownership of something they didn't make, but not like copyright claim people just using it as background music. I kind of wish YouTube would have a way of doing that. It would make everyone's lives easier, especially if it was free or very cheap in some way. But currently there's no way to do that, so you're kind of just running the risk that at any random moment some jackass tries to abuse the copyright system and earn money from a song they didn't make. And that happened for me with Pilot Red Sun. I don't know if you know that creator. I think he's got like 500k subs. I sent him a message at some point saying, hey, can I use your stuff? And he actually responded, which I thought was really cool, and said, yeah, as long as you're like, yeah, I don't even think he said as long as you credit me. I think he just said yeah, if I remember correctly. But either way, I'm still crediting his stuff whenever I use it. It's amazing music, but one of his songs got claimed by some third party, and he's been dealing with that for like 2 months and going. It's still not resolved. It takes forever to resolve this stuff, but that means that song's effectively blacklisted from my channel, because every time I appeal something, even if I have the right to use it and someone is, you know, straight up told me you're allowed to use this, I still am scared every time I click the appeal button, because if whatever jackass is, you know, abusing the copyright system denies it, then I have to go to court. I don't have that type of money. So it's a real kind of problem with the copyright system that I think AI music could solve for me. Because if I AI generate a song and kind of claim it myself, then I just have it and I can use it in my videos, and it's like my song, so I can establish all the legal rights to it and all that, and then not ever have to worry about this ever again. And for YouTube videos, honestly, I mean, music is a big part of it, but there's a lot of videos where the music's really not that important, especially any like live gameplay videos, right? Any game reviews and stuff like that. It's really not that important. If you got like a big story-based content, like the better content on the platform, you know, not the stuff I make on my channel, because I suck at telling stories, then the music is very, very important. But for a lot of the stuff I make, I think as long as the music's solid, I don't really think anyone even cares or notices what's in the background, to be honest. And I think AI generated music would definitely sound good enough to kind of fill the void that you're trying to fill with music. And then would avoid a lot of these problems that I'm almost voluntarily facing by wanting to make YouTube videos, which kind of sucks. I don't want to do that, but it's like, it's really been a thought crossing my mind, and I'm kind of curious if in the comments below if you have any thoughts on doing stuff like that. I mean, it feels weird to me. I have all these musicians, I've paid them directly to download and listen to their music, and then oftentimes, you know, talk to them saying, hey, can I use your stuff? And they're like, hell yeah. And they're great people and they make great music, and I want to use their music, but I'm also just scared. Like, with all the copyright abuse going on the platform, I mean, the legal system takes decades to catch up to technology. And this is one of those things that's just going to take forever to actually get solved in any meaningful way, unless YouTube themselves kind of make a solution. Like I said, if they could make it so you could claim the rights to your song without claiming other channels and taking their monetization, I'm sure a lot of musicians would sign up for that if it was cheap to do, but there isn't a thing like that. Even to just get yourself distributed on Spotify and all that, it costs like 20 bucks a year, and if you make no money, that can kind of, I mean, it's not that crazy of a thing to add up on if you spend that much time making music, but like, that's just to get it out on the platforms, and you have to advertise it, you maybe have a website, change your bios, promote it, and there's just like a lot of money that you can sink into this stuff that adds up very fast and makes it so they kind of don't want to waste all that money. And especially when it comes to the copyright system, if someone else claims to own your song, that's a few $1,000s that you have to waste. You either have to like try and do it for free and learn a bunch of law and send a bunch of documents around while this other guy just kind of ignores all of them and keeps earning money from you, and then keeps ignoring you, and eventually like he'll be out of the system, but he'll have earned a few hundred of maybe thousands of dollars from your fans, which is super cringe. Or you just kind of let it happen, and that's what most small creators do, because like, what are you supposed to do, man? You can't fight a legal battle. Like, no one has that type of money if you're a small musician who has, you know, music pieces that go out there and have 2,000 views. That's the stuff I find, that's the stuff I listen to, that's the stuff I love. I mean, there's really good stuff out there on YouTube with like 5 views, and I've trained my algorithm to put me there and let me listen to it and find it, and then I talk to the guys and I try to use it and try to make that, you know, 1,000 views go to 2,000, maybe 3,000. You know, if I blow up, then they almost like blow up with me, which I hope happens. I hope that me doing well on YouTube somehow trickles down to some of these artists, that at least one person somewhere like goes to their song, because I mean, there's a reason I asked to use their music. It's good stuff. But yeah, I know it was a lot more of a long rant. Yeah, maybe not the type of video you were expecting, maybe, depending on what thumbnail I put out here. But I thought it was an interesting thing to kind of point out that there is now AI music. It's just it's part of reality, it's part of what's going on. It's not going to go away, the legal system's not going to catch up in time. By the time they kind of figure out that it exists, there won't be clear laws on it, just in the same way that music on the whole doesn't have clear laws on it. I mean, there's tons of people that like sample music that get in legal trouble sometimes, even though they completely transform the sample. The fact that it used a sample from a song sometimes can be enough for someone to sue you if they're enough of a jackass. But other musicians don't care, and it's like, you never know until they sue you. And it's a real kind of just issue, right? The copyright system's a real issue. The fact that the law takes forever to catch up is an even bigger issue. I'm trying to think of like solutions that can, you know, make it better, but realistically I don't really think there is one. And I think it's just kind of part of life, is that AI music is now just gonna be around. I'm sure there's a ton of different channels, because most music channels are faceless these days, where there's no face of the artist out anywhere, and it's just kind of like the music up on a platform with their profile picture. You're not gonna know if something's AI generated unless the person on the other side of the screen is generous enough to tell you, which I appreciate that the people are currently somewhat open about it. But there really was no way, like, as a non-musician myself, and even for some of my musician friends, they probably could not have told you that some of this stuff was AI generated. And that's just going to get worse over time as AI gets better. And I don't really know if there's anything you can do about it. It's just gonna be part of life, especially with a lot of these bigger platforms. Like I said, a lot of creators use Epidemic Sound and things like that, like music subscriptions that have access to this massive library of sound specifically made to use with YouTube videos and stuff. A lot of that stuff's probably already AI generated, but if it's not already, I'm sure people will start submitting AI music onto there, and then all these, creators that don't credit the music they use will actually just be using AI music in the background, and no one's ever gonna notice except the guy making the AI music, making a bunch of money. And it's, I don't know, it's just a really odd thing I wanted to kind of point out, make people aware of. I'm sure a lot of people have been listening to stuff, not even reading the description. No one reads descriptions on YouTube, so I'm gonna make a video to point out what's in the description of some of these videos and kind of pinpoint the exact moments that AI music came to be, because I don't think this is going anywhere. If anything, I think this will just get bigger over time, because it's clearly successful. A lot of these AI kind of hour-long albums that these AI channels have been pumping out literally every week, right? They have a new hour worth of music every week. A lot of that stuff has like 2-3 million views and counting, and it just came out within the last like 2 months, and I don't even really know what else to say. Let me know if you guys have any real thoughts on that, right? If you have a potential solution, right? If there's some way to find the human in music and identify that, or if you think people even care. I think most people really don't care if something was AI generated in origin. Like, I think if you tell them, hey, this was AI generated, they'll get mad. But if you make an AI piece and tell them nothing, I don't think anyone's gonna really care enough to look into it. I mean, I've never even thought about this before. I only thought about this because I read in the description that some of the stuff was AI generated. I'm like, I wonder how much of the stuff that I listen to on YouTube all the time has been AI generated. I don't really know, and there's not really a way to know. And with all that thought-provoking discussion out of the way, it's really all I had to say. I just really wanted to make this and point this out to everyone. Hopefully, you have a great rest of your day, and this doesn't like ruin the mood or anything like that. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.